Hello and welcome to our show. I'm Sid Tan, and today we have with us David Malmo-Levine. I've known David for a long time, in fact, when he was just a youngster. And I'm so proud of the work that he's been doing as an activist. And David is here, and welcome to the show, David. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Sid. Hey, thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you here. I do remember years ago the Harm Reduction Club, which you set up. But you're here. We're going to talk about marijuana. But beyond marijuana, we're going to talk about larger issues that surround marijuana. So let's start with when I first met you, the Harm Reduction Club.
That would be back in '96. I moved back from Edmonton to Vancouver in '95. I started working for Hemp BC, and I was a kind of professional pot activist. I did that for a year, and then I started this club with a bunch of friends, the Harm Reduction Club. We tried to basically sell pot, but sell it in a responsible manner and teach people how to deal pot and grow pot in a responsible manner so that some of the stigma and the fear surrounding cannabis could be addressed head on, and you know, to assert our right to have a dignified job, you know, a job without any employer, but that paid a lot of money, and it would basically take money away from the corporate drug overlords and put it in the hands of farmers and gardeners and just regular people. So we sold to anybody who would promise not to drive while impaired and promise to read our Safer, Smarter Smoking Guide. And that lasted for a little while, got busted a couple of times, and the charges from that led to the Supreme Court of Canada, where I represented myself just recently on May 6th of this year, and we're still waiting to hear back.
Yeah, that would be the Malmo-Levine, Kane, and Clay case. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you just give me, I'm interested in this case, can you give me what the finer points of this case are?
Well, sure. All three cases revolved around whether the harm that may or may not come with cannabis use was significant or trivial. One judge said it wasn't significant, two judges said it was more than trivial, and then it went to the Supreme Court of Canada. My whole focus was as we called the club, the Harm Reduction Club. We wanted to focus on how the harms could all be reduced. They were either a product of the black market or of ignorance. Say, for example, impaired driving or impaired lungs. There are things you can do to address those concerns, like growing organic, smoking potent stuff, saving it for high pleasure, low pressure activity, and you know, basic common sense type of things. You can actually watch my speech to the Supreme Court of Canada online at the internet station I work at, Pot TV. It's on the homepage. You just go to www.pot-tv.net and then click on Supreme Court and see how well I did. But in 7 months, they take an average of 7 months to get back with a decision, but in 7 months, growing, dealing, and smoking cannabis could all be legal, protected activities under the Constitution all across Canada. So
I'm looking forward to that. Along the other thing about I remember meeting you too. This would have been about 6, 7 years ago. You were one of the people that was involved in the anti-APEC, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation issue out at UBC, which for many people think kick-started the anti-globalization. That was like pre the battle in Seattle, pre-Genoa.
Definitely taught a lot of people in North America that North Americans could get in the way of these dictators' luncheons and these what are called free trade agreements, but are actually investors' rights agreements, as Noam Chomsky might describe them. And really, like I like to fight what's killing me the quickest, and I see the drug war as a young pot smoker. That's what's killing me the quickest. But I like to lend a hand to other people fighting other just causes, and the social justice and human rights movements kept me interested for a long time. I followed the East Timor situation, and I tried to lend a hand there too, and I found myself getting in the way of this cop who was running to basically bust someone for crawling up a flagpole and to put an anti-APEC flag up there. I found myself, strangely enough, the first person pepper sprayed at the APEC protest the day before most everyone else did. So I got in the way early there, and hopefully inspired some other people to get in the way as well. That's all you can really do when it comes to what's unfair. But I like to pour more of my energy into building what is fair, and I really think if you want to be an anti-corporate activist, the most direct action, effectual action you can take is to legalize cannabis and encourage the other herbs to be grown and distributed under our economy. And then you're stealing from basically the market and right out of the hands of the pharmaceutical companies, which are the worst companies in the world. They along with the oil and the bankers, fund wars and make money off wars. And if you can take all their profit away by offering more effective, safer, cheaper alternatives to their pills and their fuels, which, again, the hemp plant, so versatile. Not only can it replace all these synthetic medicines, it can replace synthetic fuels and all these synthetic building materials, and we can just grow pretty much everything that isn't glass or metal could be replaced with hemp. That's how profound, useful a herb it is. And I see myself as being an anti-corporate monopoly activist by being an effective pot activist.
It seems to me that the issue of being a marijuana or a pot activist has overtones of environmental and human rights and social justice. And I'm just wondering, on that, you've actually taken it to another level, because along with that, you've become quite astute in the media. And in fact, you're working with pot-tv.net plus potshotzine.ca or com?
.com, yeah, potshotzine.com is my own website. I do like my own kind of specialist cannabis activist specialty magazine I put up on the internet.
And also cannabisculture.com as well.
Yes, that's right. I contribute to that magazine, and yeah, I think that you know, guns and money tend to win most of the time, but opinion has more of an effect on guns and money than guns and money have an effect on opinion. So I think ultimately power is in the hands of public opinion and those who can manipulate it, and that's where a lot of activism, I think, should focus on.
I'm always pleased to actually talk to people that are in alternative media and going this way. I know that pottv.net and ICTV have actually collaborated. We did some stuff, and Pot TV put it on the net. So it's been a very good working relationship. But as we get into this, and I've been in this for a long time, how do you address the fact that marijuana is still illegal?
Well, it's arguable. Like, not only my case, which is a Supreme Court case, which could affect all of Canada, but there's also the Rogan case, just came out. It was just in Ontario, but basically, effectively, no one is getting arrested for marijuana possession in Ontario, and ultimately, the Rogan decision could affect the judge there in that case left it open for trafficking and growing as well. So the laws against cannabis, they're crumbling, they're falling apart, and I just think that literally these are the last days of illegal cannabis, maybe the last days of all illegal drugs, and the courts are being very helpful in educating the rest of the Canadian population about just how relatively harmless these are and how important human autonomy and the right to control your own body really is.
Well, David, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure it'll be a continuing pleasure. Thank you very much, and we hope to hear more from you when the Supreme Court decision comes in.
Our alternative mediums are complementary, and I think they serve each other well.
Thank you very much again. All right. So now this is where we're supposed to keep talking. Maybe we should pass out to another hit.
A few more action shots there. A little dignity in there. It's about talking the talk and walking the walk. Anyone else?
Pass it to the director.
Sure, you have a hit there. Yeah.